Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So for today's video, we're going to do a chatty get ready with me, and we're going to use the Tom Ford Suspicion eyeshadow palette. And we're going to talk about money, and specifically how someone like me, my scale here on YouTube, makes or doesn't make money. But before we go any further, let's take a second to grab our iced coffee or a hot coffee. Let's take a sip and let's get started. So this will be my first time using a Tom Ford eyeshadow palette. I received this as a gift from a subscriber for my birthday. Jenny Cookie Pritt sent me this along with several other Tom Ford eyeshadow palettes for me to try out and review for you guys here on YouTube. So I'm gonna go ahead and start off with this one right here because it's really calling me these beautiful golden warm toned hues. But you guys voted on Instagram. There's a lot of other palettes. I don't know them all off by heart, but there's one called African Violet that really is calling out to me. Anyway, I have a bunch of other ones. So I will be doing more reviews on these palettes in the near future. And as mentioned, we're gonna go ahead and talk about money here on YouTube. I'm gonna go ahead and start off by going into this shade right here. And I'm gonna go ahead and place this on the mobile lid. So as a YouTuber, there are several different ways in which you can make money off of this platform. The first one being AdSense. So when you watch a YouTube video, there's a commercial either before the video or during, and the YouTuber gets a small percentage of that ad. The longer you watch the video, the more money you give to the YouTuber. This means that even if you watch a video that you dislike, so if you watch a video of someone you don't like and you leave a mean comment, if you watched the video or the commercial, I should say, you're still giving money to the YouTuber. Another way that YouTubers can make money is through commission links or affiliate links. So I have some of those in my description box. So when I mention products, etc., I will leave a link to where you can buy it online through different stores. I'm just sweeping this all over the mobile lid here. I don't actually have a matte shade in the palette, but there is that dark color which I might use for the crease later. And then last but not least, as a way to make money, you have sponsorships, and those you can do on YouTube or on Instagram as well. And just to break things down, like a video that you're watching today, like this average length here, probably takes me 45 minutes to an hour just to film. And then it takes me 4 to 6 hours to edit the video. And then the thumbnail, like the thumbnail you see, could take me 30 minutes to an hour. And then the Instagram post of the product shot linking to the video, that could be another half hour, depending. So it's a full day's work. Like, you know, if you could calculate all of that time together, it's like a 7 or 8 hour day, sometimes more, honestly, because sometimes you have technical difficulties and all that. And I film all of my videos myself. I do all of the light equipment, I do the sound, I do all the editing, I do all the marketing, you know, on social media. I do all this myself. So it is a lot of time, which I don't mind because this is what I do. And I love it. Obviously, it's quite apparent that I really like makeup. I think it's pretty obvious from my content. Okay, now I'm gonna go into that darker shade with a more tapered brush, and I'm just really gonna go lightly because I have a feeling that it's quite pigmented. My suspicions of suspicion were confirmed. So I am definitely on the microscopic scale as far as advertisers are concerned. I just reached 7,000 subscribers here on YouTube, which is fantastic. But for someone with my scale to do an advertisement, like a sponsored video, it really is not worth it to me at this moment to do a sponsored video, because with the views that I get, even though I get really good views, like I looked at the month of December and I had about 70,000 views on my channel, which is nothing to sneeze at, but on the scale of other YouTubers who have hundreds of thousands or even millions of subscribers, I'm kind of lost in the shuffle. So when I do get approached to do sponsorships, it's usually with brands that I don't actually want to work with. It's with brands that I have never used their products before, I have never heard of them, so that's an immediate no for me. And also, the amount of money that they offer for someone on my scale is really not worth it to me. So I mentioned, 6 hours of editing, an hour of filming, hour of thumbnail. For the subscriber count that I have, the average that I get as an offer for a sponsorship is about $75, maybe like $150, $250 if I'm extremely lucky. So for me to do sponsored videos at this point is really pointless because I don't really see the point of me doing all of that work for $75. Like if you break that down, if you break $75 down to like 8 hours, like that's minimum wage. And the thing is, when you do a sponsored video, companies really demand a lot of creative control. I mean, a lot. They basically will send you a PDF of how to hold the product, what words to say, when to say them in the video. They will ask for a rough draft of your video so they can give you notes and tell you to reshoot or to how to fix things. Like, you really lose a lot of creative control when you do a sponsored video, which is another reason why I don't really do them. I have done one sponsored video in my entire career here on YouTube, and that one was fine, but I really rarely get offered sponsorships, and when I do, the conditions are just totally catastrophic in my point of view. So it's really not profitable for me to bank on sponsorships because at my scale, it's not worth it, and the conditions are not interesting to me. So another way you can accumulate money or product, I guess, is through PR. So that is when you get sent a new release or an item from a makeup company or whatever company, and you incorporate it into your channel. PR is quite tricky. I find that, first of all, a lot of companies don't send PR to Canada for some reason. Like, some of them do, but some of them just don't. I don't know, some sort of shipping thing. And I'm using a bigger fluffy brush here. Some brands, again, don't really see someone on my scale as worth sending PR to because they want to send it to someone with millions of followers, which I understand. And there are also some companies that when they offer to send PR, it's very sketchy, to say the least. And I have to say that this is not every company. Like, I have received PR from companies that have been lovely and wonderful to work with, and I would totally work with them again. I am just saying that I've also been approached by some companies that were sketchy. So here's the formula for the sketchy PR company. They email me and they tell me, "Hi, we love you and your channel, blah, blah, blah. We would love to send you our new makeup brush. Would you like to receive it?" Oftentimes, they tend to be brands that I have never heard of before, and this is not meant to be shade or tea or whatever. These are just like new e-commerce, like online companies that I've never heard of before. They're trying to drum up publicity and they're just contacting a lot of people. So I tend to be one of those people. So I've never tried their products. And then if I am interested in whatever they're offering, sometimes I'll say yes. And then here comes the kicker with the sketchy PR. As soon as I say, yes, send me the product and I will incorporate it into my channel the best way that I can, they then slap me with well, here are all of the requirements for you in order to receive this free makeup brush. And that is when I quickly realized that a lot of these companies that are sending PR are actually looking for free commercials. Because when you do a sponsorship, so a sponsorship is when you receive products and money in exchange for a commercial to put here on YouTube or Instagram. A lot of these companies that send PR are asking for a free commercial or free sponsored video because they're sending you the makeup brush and they're telling you, we want you to post on Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Here are your talking points, blah, blah, blah. And that is not PR. PR is when a company just sends you something in good faith in their own product. So they know that their product is good and they have vetted you and your channel and they know that it's going to work together. I'm just using a different brush here. So yeah, that really rubs me the wrong way because, I mean, I understand if it's like a brand new company, maybe they don't have that much money, they don't really have a marketing budget, which is fine, but at least be honest with your offer. Like, don't pretend that you're offering to send me something for free when you're really asking me to do a free commercial for you. And you know, it's not every company that does this. Like, I don't want you to think that every company does this sort of devious behavior, but there are a lot who do, and it's really not great. And it's really just frustrating because it just feels like a waste of time to be emailing someone back and forth for a few days and then for them to just finish with that. You're like, what was the point of this entire exchange, you know? And maybe for some people it is worth it for them, you know? Maybe they want more products to review and they just want to have more content on their channel. Like, I'm not going to criticize someone who does want to do that. Like, that's their own prerogative. But I just feel for me, like, my channel is something that I've literally built from the ground up, from zero. And so to give up or compromise my creative control is something that I really don't like. And I feel like I don't even know if there's even a monetary number that I would be willing to give up my creative control. Like, that's how much I care about this channel. And like, I don't know. I feel like if a company is contacting me and telling me how much they like my content and my video, then they should have theoretically already vetted my channel and know what I'm like. But then again, they might be sending out mass emails to a lot of people, hoping to get a few responses. I'm gonna go into that gold shade now and just apply this on the mobile lid, but more in the center here. Let's just move on to the face makeup and then we'll finish up the eyes after. So for the foundation, I'm gonna go into my Giorgio Armani Luminous Silk in the shade 5.5. So yeah, that is like the predicament that I'm in, where it's really not worth it for me to do a sponsorship because I don't want to give up my creative liberties basically. And receiving PR is nice. It's not, honestly, anyone who starts a YouTube channel because they want to receive free stuff is in for a rude awakening. I just want to say a side note. I am 32 years old and I'm still getting breakouts. I would like to speak to a manager. Like, what is this? How can I be 32 and getting breakouts? Anyway, what was I saying? Sponsorships, PR. Yeah. If you think that receiving PR is easy, maybe you should also believe in Santa Claus, because it's not that receiving PR is like impossible. It's just really not that common. I definitely buy 99.9% of the products shown on the channel, and I do get some PR every now and then, but it's not that often. Again, I could get more if I wanted to, but sometimes it's from companies that I'm just not interested in, and I am not interested in just accumulating free stuff. Like, I want products that I want, that I have an interest in, and that can be useful for my channel. So if it's a brand of luxury or high-end makeup, or you know what I mean? Like, it has to fit into what I already do. I don't really feel the need to receive just like free stuff for the sake of having free stuff. So for the concealer, I'm going to go into my Clé de Peau concealer in the shade called Almond. So one thing that I do with my concealer is just like let it sit there for a second. So one thing I've noticed that some YouTubers do here on this platform is they have a Patreon, which is a third-party website where a creative person like has an account and the patrons can give money basically, or like subscribe to the person, and there are different tiers. I haven't really seen that many people in the beauty community do a Patreon, but I wanted to know your opinion on Patreon, and if I started a Patreon, what would you think about it? So there would obviously have to be different tiers. I think the first tier would be like the really basic one, like this would not be mandatory, by the way. And also, this is not actually happening. This is just like theoretically, I'm just asking for your opinion, like what you would think about it. But if I started a Patreon where the minimum subscription amount would be like $2 or $5 a month, and again, this would be non-mandatory, like you could still subscribe to my channel, and if you felt like just giving $2 a month or $5 a month, then you could, but it wouldn't be like an obligation. And then I could do higher tiers with different rewards, because I do get a lot of private messages from you guys, which I love. I love talking to you guys. I love talking about makeup, obviously. It's just that sometimes you guys ask for very detailed makeup advice. Like, I definitely spend a lot of time every week basically coaching people through different makeup looks and trying my best to talk through different makeup techniques and how to apply different makeup and how to do different looks. So my idea was for those people who have a burning question regarding a certain makeup technique, makeup palette, something we haven't talked about on our channel, and who it's basically usually like a makeup consultation that I end up doing like through Instagram. My idea was, what if I had a Patreon, one of the tiers, maybe the second or third one, like one of the more expensive ones, you could have a one-on-one makeup consultation with me. We could do it either through chat or maybe through like Skype, and you could talk to me about your makeup questions, and then I could talk to you one-on-one and talk you through and give you my advice. And I think the benefit of that is that if you go to a department store and ask them for advice on an eyeshadow palette, you will probably end up leaving with having bought a concealer and a lipstick, because they're very good at like the upsell and like convincing you otherwise. But the thing is, like, if you want to do like a makeup consultation, I am not trying to sell you anything, because I don't care if you buy Chanel or Dior or Tom Ford, you know, like it doesn't matter to me. Like, I'm not being paid by any of these companies. I'm not sponsored by any of them. So I would just give you my advice, the best that I can, and then you could do with that knowledge whatever you want. So I think that could be interesting, because that way you could get just like my pure makeup advice without any outside influence. And then if I had a Patreon, then I wouldn't even have to consider sponsorships. I mean, I don't consider sponsorships now because of like the rates and the creative control that they want. But even when I do get to have more subscribers and all that, I still wouldn't even have to consider sponsorships if I had a Patreon and there was like some income coming there, because as you know, luxury makeup is quite expensive. And I know that a lot of you do value my opinion on luxury products, and when I do reviews, I know that a lot of you rely on them to go buy or not buy makeup. I think that's very important. Since I already don't rely on sponsorships or PR for my content, with a Patreon, I would just create more. So if you supported me through Patreon, then you would be able to vote on certain collections, because whenever collections come out, they often have like 2 or 3 different palettes, 2 or 3 different blushes. So if you supported me on Patreon, then you would be able to vote on the upcoming videos. I think that could be a neat incentive. And I could also do videos for Patreon only if you're interested. I feel like Patreon is interesting because the advertisers here on YouTube and advertisers who promote here on YouTube really see the subscribers, you, as the product. They are always trying to sell at you, trying to sell you something, whereas this way I wouldn't be selling you anything. I would just be giving you my opinion on the products like I'm doing now, but just maybe more, like maybe more products. Maybe when a collection comes out, I wouldn't have to choose between one palette or the other. I could just get both and give both reviews on them if you wanted. And since I am going out and buying my own products myself, I don't have an incentive to give a good or bad review. I just give the review that I would naturally give because I wouldn't be focusing on getting sponsorships or getting PR. All I'd be doing is just going out and buying the product and giving the review, because like it or not, when you give a negative review of a product or a brand, sometimes companies notice that, and that definitely doesn't help you get on PR lists or get sponsorships. But if I'm not interested in either one of those, then you guys just know that you just get the same reviews that you're already getting now. Okay, I'm going to go back into the Tom Ford palette. I'm going to go into a small tapered brush and go back into that dark shade and just trace it under the bottom lashes. And then I'm going to go into that lightest color in the corner here, and I'm going to place it in the inner corner. Okay, so I feel like I am noticing very little fallout. I'm surprised, especially with that darker color. And these eyeshadows are blending very well. I can see what the fuss is about these Tom Ford palettes, which is great, but also these are very expensive, but I'm very happy that I have them. Thank you so much, Jenny. But yeah, they're great. This is a really nice palette. I love these colors. They blend, all of them are just so creamy and buttery. They're just like a dream to blend, and they just like melt together. All of them are equally pigmented as well, equally opaque. It's a really nice palette. If you like warm tones, this one's really good. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and use my Chanel Stylo Yeux in number 88. And I'm just gonna go ahead and tightline, and that is when you just apply a little bit of liner on the top waterline of the lashes here. I do have to say that I'm not trying to denigrate anyone who does receive a lot of PR, who does sponsorships, you know, that there's nothing wrong with either one of those things. I'm not trying to poo-poo on anyone and how they make their money. As I mentioned, not every company that sends PR is sketchy. A lot of them are totally normal and sane and just send you products and just let you do what you want with them, which is what they're supposed to do. I have just been recently inundated with so many emails. Like, I am a pretty small creator, and when I receive like 4 emails in 1 week with these really sketchy PR companies, like I feel like that's a lot, okay? So I think that's where that came from. And with ads and sponsorships, you know, for some people, they work really well with them, and especially if they have a brand that they really like and they've worked well together. I think that's the difference. I think I am on a smaller scale, and so the sponsorship opportunities that I get are few and far between, and they're not good terms or any of that. So that's why I'm just really not interested in doing them at the moment, but to each their own. I'm gonna go ahead and put on some mascara. I'm gonna go ahead and use the Volume de Chanel. Okay, so for the blush, I'm gonna go into my Chantecaille Cheek Gelée in Vibrant. I recently did a video called Luxury Project Pan. Yeah, words are hard. Project Pan, which is where you select items and try to pan them or go through them. And I picked this as one of the items to go through because there was just so much product. And I'm not sure if I will ever be able to use the whole thing up, but I will try my best. So you go ahead and place a little bit of product on the back of your hand here, and then you just swipe it through with your brush like this. I did that video with Nico Vita, Angela Van Rose, Everyday Edit, and Jill E. Christ. So if you didn't watch that, I would totally recommend doing it, because the idea is, since we have such large makeup collections, just buckling down and picking a few items to just use up before they go bad, because they all have expiration dates. And now I'm going to go into my Guerlain Terracotta face palette. I'm going to go into these 2 bronzing shades here. So I don't know if you could tell at the beginning of the video, but I was a little bit nervous. I don't know why, just the subject of money and sponsorships and PR, it's not something that a lot of people talk about very candidly. And I don't know, it just made me nervous to talk about it. But I just wanted to just touch the subject with you and talk about Patreon and just mention it. It's really just to gauge your opinion on it and see how you feel. And if everyone hates the idea of a Patreon, then I obviously won't start one. So for the highlighter, I'm going to go into my Metal Peach from Chanel, because this is a nice golden color and I think it would just look really nice with this whole look. And then for the lips, let's stick with a nude. I'm going to go into my Chanel Rouge Coco Flash number 82, Live or Live. It's the perfect nude. Okay, I'm about done with this look. I tried to hide this breakout, but I think I just made it look worse. So Yay. So please let me know what you think. What would you think if I started a Patreon? Would you be interested in supporting me there? Yes? No? No is an appropriate answer. Let me know. Again, if I did start one, it wouldn't be mandatory. Like, you would still get content on YouTube, but there would just be more exclusive things on Patreon. So yeah, I think this about does it for today's video. So thank you so much for stopping by. I hope you guys all have a beautiful day, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.